Good Sunday, everyone. Welcome to Garden State Weather Premium on YouTube, Garden State Weather on Facebook, and Garden State WX on Twitter when I'm available there. I'm meteorologist Robert Smith. We're going to take a look at the week ahead here. We've got some rain, some sleet, and some snow coming for later in the week with a big drop of temperatures preceding, or actually following, a very big warm-up coming for Wednesday and Thursday. Now, we'll start out with the European model guidance here. Here's our big storm over Labrador and Maine exiting here. Comes a second batch of cold air into the region this morning and tomorrow morning, actually. So it's going to be quite chilly around here. And then we get a modification in temperatures going forward into the week ahead. So much so that temperatures basically going to rise into the 40s and 50s here in the New Jersey, New York City metropolitan area ahead of this strong Arctic front that's going to be coming through in the northern branch. And the southern branch, we have some dynamics that are kind of sheared out here. So this is going to be a front that's going to move through, and there's going to be plenty of anafrontal precipitation. Anafrontal means precipitation lagging behind the actual cold frontal passage on Friday. And that's going to change some of the precipitation over from rain to snow. And we'll get into that in a moment. Now, once this cold front comes through Friday night, it's being reinforced by this cold trough here over the northern United States. And back from that trough line here is a closed off low along the front. It's kind of like hung out. And then it begins to move in our direction with warmer air, probably providing us with rain next Sunday. And then another Arctic front comes through, and we're in the cold blast once again. And then a gradual warm up again by the following week, February 9th. What's really interesting in this pattern is look at all of this dry air across most of the continental United States here for a while. And then we get a return flow coming in from off the Gulf, and that's going to stretch into the upper Midwest as the cold front and Arctic boundary move through against that front and surface wave coming out of the Gulf. So we know that we're going to have winter precipitation here over a large chunk of this area from Texas all the way up into the Midwest, and that's going to spread towards the Ohio River Valley and eventually into the Appalachians, especially on Wednesday night and Thursday. And this could be a concern here for any kind of snowpack that's left on the ground or has already, I guess, melted into the ground subsurface here. So this would produce moderate to heavy rain, which could cause some flooding issues. We don't know about that yet. We'll take a look at those tables in a while. And then after that, dry air comes back in again, and all the moisture is left out over the Gulf and into Florida. But most of the rest of the country, with these frontal passages coming through the bone dry air in the water vapor channel. This is the Winter Storm Severity Index effective from today, January 30th through Thursday, February 3rd. Again, the areas here that are going to have some minor impacts and moderate impacts are going to be across Texas here, all the way up into Detroit, Michigan. This was the storm summary from Weather Prediction Center here in let's see, College Park, Maryland, over the last 24 hours or so. The amount of snow here in Connecticut, the high point was at 21.5 inches in Groton and 21 inches in Sterling. Significant amounts of snow here in Maine as well. Massachusetts had the highest. Sharon had 30.4 inches, 28.6 in Whiteman, 26.2 in Swamp Scott. Just incredible. Over 2 feet of snow here in Norton and Danvers. And then you get back into New Hampshire here, you had about 8, 10, 13 inches of snow. New York at Islip Airport had 24.7, East Hampton 16.1, Riverhead at 12, and LaGuardia Airport at 8.3. And then you head back into Rhode Island, big snow here in Warren, 24.6, 24 inches even, that's 2 feet in West Warwick. And you get the picture here. These were the preliminary snowfall totals in inches where the event has ended. Here in Delaware, 14.2 inches in Lewes, and Long Neck at 11.8. Washington, D.C., they skipped out of this one at 1.1 at the National Zoo. In Maryland, 14 inches in Ocean Pine. Newark, Maryland had 12 inches. Back to New Jersey, the big spot, Bayville, 21 inches, 19 inches in Egg Harbor, 17 right along the shore at Avalon by the Sea. Atlantic City at 16, Toms River 16, and Newark, 7.1 inches. And that's about it. And it's a cold one in Florida today and in the Panhandle as well. This morning's low temperatures in the 30s here. West Palm around 39. Miami at 39. It's cold. Even down to Key West this morning it was 50 degrees. Many temperatures here in the 20s and low 30s, just around or below freezing. And from the Weather Prediction Center, here's the key messages for February 1st through the 3rd's winter storm here. Probability of better than 4 inches of snow here across the Great Lakes into Missouri and Illinois and Indiana here. This is effective from Tuesday at 6 a.m. to Thursday at 6 a.m. And as you can see, probability of ice accumulation is great too. Greater than 1/10 of an inch here in these areas, again through the same area. So a large storm system increasingly likely to affect much of the central U.S. by the middle of the week. And it's too far out for specific snow and ice forecast. All types of winter precipitation is possible. Significant snow and ice accumulations are possible as well. And there is still uncertainty on the storm track. Temperatures will affect the location, obviously. Much below normal temperatures are also expected in the wake of this storm, especially across the plains where temperatures 20 to 30 degrees below normal are possible following this storm. So begin to prepare for the possibility of winter weather and hazardous travel conditions this week. Interesting to note, 3,678 days in Tallahassee since they've been above 20 degrees. Today, the streak has come to an end with a low of 19, but it's also frigid elsewhere this morning across Florida, and we just showed you that right here. Taking a look at the surface fronts and sea level pressure here through next Sunday. High pressure is building in right now. That's providing us with clear skies. We have some downwind lake effect snow showers occurring later this afternoon. Downwind lakes here, Lake Erie, Lake Ontario here, and across the upper Great Lakes as well. This is going to minor out as high pressure is basically in control. Here's our new storm system coming into the upper Midwest, the upper Northwest actually, with snow, rain developing here in the Gulf of Texas. And a moderating trend here in the eastern United States as high pressure moves offshore, crest over the top of us on Tuesday, then the winds shift around to the south and southwest. Here comes that big Arctic front coming through the Midwest, slicing it down, and waves of low pressure on the front ahead of it, all the way from, let's say, the Midwest, all the way down to Texas, and then the desert Southwest. These areas of low pressure will ripple along the front, but notice all the precipitation here is behind the front. We call this ANAFRONTAL, and this is going to be a question mark as we get into Thursday. It's going to be quite mild around here with probable moderate to heavy rain in the column here, and this could, produce with snowpack that's still left on the ground, flooding issues, and we'll get to that in a moment as well. And then on Friday, here comes the front. It passes off with the secondary wave here just to the south lagging behind, and some of the precipitation showing up on the charts here, changing over to snow, especially in the mountain areas here in the northeastern United States. Now, the European model guidance, and we'll get into that right now, is showing the following. Okay, so here comes the front now on Thursday, and the rain preceding the front here. And already it's cold enough in the mountainous areas and the higher elevations to be switching over to sleet and snow as this comes through on Thursday afternoon and Thursday evening. Most of this area should just be rain. This has me concerned in here and back in here as the temperature profiles are dropping like a bomb, and I'll show you that on the upper air charts in a moment. So I think it's going to be warm enough at the ground where you're just going to have a changeover to sleet and then snow, but especially if you're northwest of 78 and into the city here, that's showing up on Friday as well. Now, everything just goes over to snow in the air, but how much is really going to accumulate on the ground, we don't know. I'm thinking a couple of inches. I'm not thinking the European model guidance is completely correct with the forecast going forward for the amounts of snow, because if we looked at the 24-hour snowfall, it's bringing quite a lot where the cold air is getting entrenched first and heaviest here. This would be the corridor from New York through Pennsylvania, down through the Virginias and the Ohio River Valley here, where you could see several inches of snow. I'm doubting that this is going to be as high as it's showing right now, because the air mass is already massively changing, and it's going to take a lot of this, to come down and actually reach the ground and actually stick. So not so much sure about that. So again, another thing I've been looking at is the 850 and 925 millibar temperatures, 5,000 and 3,000 feet in the atmosphere as that Arctic front comes through, particularly on Thursday night and Friday morning. You can see it already in the Poconos in New York. So we're changing hands from temperatures at 3 or 4 degrees Celsius above above here, and then we're dropping it down to -6, -5, -9 very quickly on Friday morning. So there's no denial here that the precipitation will rapidly change over to snow. I'm not questioning that. I'm questioning the amount of snow that could actually stick to the ground, and we'd have to look at frontogenetic forcing at that time to be able to make that determination. But as you can see, by the time we get into Friday and Saturday here, look at this. At 5,000 feet, you've got air temperatures at 14, 15 degrees Celsius below zero. This is some bitterly cold air, and it will retreat by Sunday. But this, if this works out and precipitation comes back in again, this could preclude more wintry precipitation on Sunday as well. We'll take a look. Once again, at 925 millibars, here's the cold air coming in on Thursday night, Friday morning, and it's really getting cold at the surface. Now, this is about 3,000 feet in the atmosphere. So if the precipitation, the anafrontal precipitation comes in, some of this is actually going to stick to the ground or at least change from sleet to snow. This would be all snow here, changing from sleet rapidly over to snow, from rain to sleet, briefly to sleet, and then just snow before it marches out of here. And if we get into Sunday here, this is where, again, the potential lies for wintry precipitation falling from the sky with these kinds of temperatures at 3,000 feet. So I suppose we should do the 2-meter temperatures here. This is what's interesting. Okay, look at this. This is in Celsius, so this is Fahrenheit actually. This very warm air. Here comes the cold air bleeding in slowly on Thursday and Thursday night. Okay, and here we go on Friday, and temperatures are plummeting at the same time. Precipitation is moving in behind the cold front. So Thursday night, Friday morning, it's cold enough at the surface for the precipitation, if it comes down hard enough, to stick and overwhelm the ground. And the European model guidance wants to do the snowfall like this, and then bring the snowfall in on Friday morning with several inches of snow here across Long Island, southeastern Connecticut, northeastern New Jersey, the coastline here, north of 78, about 3-4 inches. But it really brings blockbuster snow here in Pennsylvania, especially over the Poconos, where the atmosphere is so cold. But again, these numbers will have to be tampered with the fact that we have to go through and see where the frontogenetic forcing is going to be the greatest. If there's any kind of big stretching here in the atmosphere, plus these temperatures could overwhelm the column and produce flash snow. Now, one of the biggest challenges here in this forecast for Thursday night, and particularly on Friday morning into Friday afternoon, is going to be decided by how quickly the surface temperatures fall and how much precipitation is overwhelming the Arctic front behind the actual Arctic front, the precipitation, and how much lifting is going on. And we'll check that out. But right now, this is what the guidance is showing here for Friday afternoon across New York City and Yonkers, Northwestern New Jersey, also up to about 4, 5, 6 inches. As you head north into Sussex, it's counting in 10 inches. But again, these numbers will have to be tempered by the fact that the atmosphere is rapidly cooling, so it's going to be a rapid switch from rain to a brief period of sleet. We don't know where that column is going to be just yet, and then a rapid change over to snow. And when we look at the sounding for this time period, if we look at this in the atmosphere, it's already drying. This is on Friday morning, but again, let's go back here just a little bit when all of this is starting out and coming in here. And let's look at the sounding from Thursday evening at 10 p.m. across the New Jersey, New York I-95 corridor here into New York State and Connecticut. And when we look at the sounding, you can see the atmosphere rapidly cooling up below 8,000 feet down to the surface, and it is completely, the column is completely saturated. This would be a sleet and snow profile here. That's what it's showing. And then if we moved further in, let's see if we can do this. Let's move further into 7 a.m. on Friday morning. Never mind the snow totals that you're seeing on the map here. Let's look at the column. Column is beginning to dry out just a little bit, but still quite saturated. And again, this is a snow column now because all the air temperatures, the dew point is at 17, the air temperature is already at 21. So this is a cold column here, and this would produce in the dendritic growth area, -12 to -17 Celsius, this is a snow profile here. So I'm pretty sure of the forecast going forward. I'm just not sure about the actual details and how much of this is actually going to accretiate on the ground surfaces just yet. And well, the GFS last night and this morning has lost its tune here. It's so funny to look at last night's model run, which goes out to like 10 days. It misses the snow here for Thursday and Friday along the Arctic front, but look what it does with the next system. All of a sudden by, let's say, Valentine's Day, it's bringing in a coastal storm with, again, heavy amounts of snow along the coast. Now, again, this is so far out in the forecast, so far. This is not even possible. I should say probable. Last night, CFS takes the snow that's over the area here in New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Philly, Long Island, New York City, and it takes it out of here with that warm air coming in. And it doesn't really replace any snow again into the area until we get into the 19th and 20th here. So, you know, there's still opportunities for snow here. Okay. But you know, the details this far out are lacking.